All right, in this video, we are going to practice our rounding techniques, but we're also going to do that while we incorporate the order of operations. So as we work through here the first 10 problems, we are going to do some order of operation problems and then round at the end. So for this first problem, we are going to, you see we have subtraction in the numerator and then we're going to divide. So remember, order of operations, if you have a fraction, you kind of treat it as two separate problems, where you focus on the top and you focus on the bottom, and then you put them together at the end. So our first step is to subtract in the numerator. And when I do that, I get 20.04. There's nothing to do in the denominator, so I just have 1.56. The fraction bar means division, so when I divide, I get 12.846. And this is rounded to the nearest tenth. Well, 8 is in the tenth spot, so we look at 4. 4 rounds down, so my answer is 12.8. Number 2. Here I'm just dividing, but you see I have the word million and the word thousand. Now because we haven't really gotten into scientific notation, we're going to go ahead and practice writing these numbers out before we divide. So remember that million means 6. So to the right, I have 6 decimal places to the right. So my 3 is the first one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Thousand is 3. So I have 23, then I go 3 places. 1, 2, 3. And we divide these numbers. Now, if you wanted to, you could reduce zeros first. Depending on how big your number is, that might be a good idea. But if you just divide these, you end up with 221.757. This is round to the nearest 100. 100 is the 2 spot. Well, 2 rounds down, so I round to the nearest 100 of 200. Number 3, we have 5/9 times 53 minus 32. Order of operations says do anything in a grouping symbol first. So my fraction out front stays, and when I subtract 53 minus 32, excuse me, I get 21. Now, when you have a number touching a parenthesis, it means multiplication. Remember, fraction bar means division. So I have 5 divided by 9 times 21. Order of operations says multiply and divide left to right. So 5 divided by 9 gets an answer, multiply that by 21, and we end up with 11.666. It says round to the nearest 1. Well, that's 1, 6 rounds up. So rounded to the nearest 1 is 12. Number 4, 32 plus 9/5 times 21.2. Okay, now, multiplication, division, left to right comes before addition. So I have 32 plus, and I'm going to take my 9 divided by 5 times 21.2. This is kind of like what we just did. So when I take that whole big bunch of blue, I get 38.16. And we're going to add that to our 32. So when I do add those together, I get 70.16. We round to the nearest tenth. Here's my 10th place, 6 rounds up, so 70.2. And you're going to see all of these formulas later, well, a lot of these, in what we're doing later. Okay, so now I have 16.24 trillion. Well, trillion means 12. So 16, now 12 decimal places. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. That's a big number. Divided by million means 6. So 320, and now I need 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And I don't know about you, but this is a really big number to put in my calculator. So if I just look clearly here, I've got 6 zeros on the bottom, 6 zeros on the top. I can cancel those out very easily. We could even go so far as to take this 0 and this 0. And our new problem would be 16,240,000, 1,624,000 divided by 32. That's a whole lot easier number to put in your calculator. You'll get the same answer either way, but we end up with 50,750. This is round to the nearest 1,000. So here's the nearest 1,000, 7 rounds up. So my answer would be 51,000. Number 6, big order of operations problem here. Now, in the numerator, that's what I'm going to focus on first. So if I just rewrite the numerator so we can play with this a little bit. 5 times 6 plus 7.17 times 14. We want to multiply first. So I'm going to multiply these numbers, and these numbers before we add together. So when I multiply, I get 10.6 plus 30 plus 100.38. So in my numerator, I add those together, and my numerator is now 140.98. Well, in my denominator, all I'm doing is adding together. So when I add those together, I get 22. Now I have a problem I can play with. So I divide 140.98 divided by 22, and I get 6.408. Round to the nearest 1, that's 6. 4 rounds down, my estimation is 6. Number 7, order of operation. Again, this is very similar to the one we just did. We're going to multiply our chunks of multiplication before we add together. So when I multiply it, I get 6,309,203.85. In this middle one, I get 271,269. And in this last one, I get 68,371.25. And you'll notice that they're all being added together. So when I add all of those together, I get 6,648,844.10. Round to the nearest 1,000. Here's my 1,000. 8 rounds up. So 6,649,000. Good. Number 8. Round to the nearest 10th. Okay, well, I'm going to rewrite this problem so that it's a little bit easier. And I'm going to write them as all fractions. 56 as a fraction over 1 times 2/3 times 5/16. Now, when you do this, the numbers on the top are all multiplied. The numbers on the bottom are being divided. So you can think of this as 56 times 2 divided by 3 times 5 divided by 16. Numbers in the bottom divide, numbers in the top you multiply. If you plug that in, since they're all multiplication division, you just do it left to right, and your calculator should spit at you something like 11.66666 rounded to the nearest 10th. Well, 6 rounds up, so 11.7 would be your final answer there. Number 9. Again, same kind of problem we just did. We're going to get to this in section I think it's 12 with carbon dioxide emissions, but 200, then I have 1 over 1,000, I have 1.37 over 1, and I have 7. Now if it's just a whole number, remember we can make it a fraction by putting it over 1. So again, we start with 200, 1,000 is in the denominator, so that means we're going to divide by that. 1.37 is in the top, 7 is in the top. So multiply, divide left to right. Your calculator is going to spit out at you 1.918, round to the nearest hundredth. That's the second decimal place, 8 rounds up, so I have approximately 1.92. Let's go to number 10. Now we have, we're multiplying with these big numbers. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to write them out. So 1,000 means 3. Oops, there's the 3. So 122, 3 decimal places, 1, 2, 3. I'm going to multiply that now. Million means 6, so 8, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and divide that all by 24. Billion, billion means 9, so 24, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And if we're multiplying, these numbers are going together, the zeros are going to compound at the end. So you can multiply the top number if you'd like, just like this, but because I know that my numbers are going to compound, I'm going to get rid of my zeros first. So here's 3 zeros, here's 3 zeros. Here's 2 zeros, here's 2 zeros, here's 2 zeros, 1, 2. So I now have 1,223 times 87 over 2,400. And that's just a whole lot easier to do. So in the numerator now, when I multiply, I get 106,401 divided by 2,400, which brings me to 44.33. Round to the nearest tenth, 3 rounds down, 44.3. Now, if you multiplied those big numbers at the very beginning and then divided, you would get the same answer. So it's really up to you and what you feel comfortable with. Okay, let's move on to some monetary value, which just means that at the end we're going to round to the nearest cent, which is 2 decimal places. So in number 1, first thing you got to do inside the grouping. So I will have 200.54 times the 1 plus 0.04, right, when you add them together. Now, after we do that, we multiply, and we get 208.5615. If we're dealing with money, we're talking 2 decimal places, 1 rounds down, so 208.56. All right, in number 2, there's a division sign here. It's kind of hard to see, but we're just going to work left to right. So when you work left to right, we get, after you multiply the first 2 and then divide, 141,651.871. Well, it says we're rounding everything again to 2 decimal places. 1 rounds down, So I just end up with 141,651.87. And there's that one. Number 12, same type of problem with number 2, except now we're going to divide first before I multiply. And if you're multiplying and dividing, you just do left to right, right? Order of operations left to right. So when I do that left to right, I get 101,184.1686. Well, again, we're dealing with monetary value, 2 decimal places, 8 rounds up, so 101,184.17. In number 4, we are simply just dividing in number 4. We have this large number divided by 0.45. When you divide those two, you get 1192767.844. To the round to the nearest cent, here's the 4. 4 rounds down, so I end up with all of this in the front, 0.84. And that's it. And I guess these are all money. You could be putting dollar signs in front of it, but hey, you know, whatever. In number 5, now I'm going to rewrite this just so you can see it a little better, but this is like 2,000 over 1 times 0.2499 divided by 12. And this deals with finance and interest, so this is not until Unit 3. But it goes to the same concept. In the top you multiply and in the bottom you divide. So when we do that, we end up with 41.65. And because it comes out nicely 2 decimal places, there's nothing to round to. Okay, number 6. One thing I want to talk about number 6 is this caret, right, which simply means exponent. So according to order of operations, we do inside the grouping first. So all of this in here first, and I'm going to end up with 4,000 times 1.0025 raised to the 12 times 7 power. Now I'm going to do exponents next. So when I think about what is 12 times 7, well, that's 84. So I'm going to go ahead and just change that to be 84 because I'm on limited space here. Now after I do my grouping, I do exponents. So I'm going to take this number that's inside parentheses and raise it to the 84th power. Sincerely hope you have a calculator. So we have 4,000 times 1.233354801. And hopefully you just leave that in your calculator and then hit times 4,000, and your calculator should spit at you something like 4,933.419. Now, if you round it at any point, your number might be slightly off from that, but you should at least be in the ballpark. Now, if we go to the nearest cent here, 9 rounds up, so we're talking about $4,933.42 for that one. Number 7, nice, easy. Let's multiply 3 numbers together in number 7 and get, it comes out nicely, look at me doing a dollar sign there, $3,937.50. If it comes out to 2 decimal places, there's nothing that you really have to do. In number 8, we're going to multiply before we add. So when I multiply these together, I get 19.0938, and I'm going to add 25. When I add 25, I get 44.0938. Again, we're rounding nearest cent, 3 rounds down. So I end up with 44.09. Number 9, again, we're going to go inside parentheses first. So we have $5,453.40 times 1.035 raised to the 2nd power. I then do the exponent piece, and again I have the 5453.40 out front. My exponent now becomes 1.071225, and when I multiply those together, I get 5841.818. 8 rounds up, so $5,841.82. In number 10, we have the 0.1499 over 12, and then we're multiplying by, what's that number supposed to be? I have an extra 0. Boom, no more extra 0. Okay, so I'm multiplying by 5,400. Again, you're multiplying the ones in the top, you divide by the number in the bottom. So when you plug that into your calculator, you're going to get 67.455. 5 rounds up, so 67.46 is your final answer there. Number 11, we are going to multiply before we add. So 5.67 plus, when I multiply those together, I get 149.682. When I put those together via addition, I get 155.352. Round to the nearest cent, 2 rounds down, 155.35. Now, in number 12, we have groupings first. We have more than one grouping. So we have this grouping and this grouping. Let's do each one. So I have 0.36 times the first grouping, which is 4166.66, and it keeps going on, minus 250 minus 300. Next order of business is multiplication. When I multiply these, I get approximately 1500. Subtract 250, subtract 300. All subtraction, we just go left to right, and I end up with 950. Again, these are, this number 12 here is another finance formula, so unit 3. Now we're going to go to some percents and just rounding. The key with these, and as we're working through the packet in this course, when it says 1/10 of a percent, that means you want to be in a percent first and then round. So always change your answer, your number to a percent, then you want to round to the nearest tenth. So here's the 1/10 of a percent, 5 rounds up, so I have 45.6%. In number 2, we want to round to the nearest percent. Well, 4 is the nearest 1%, 2 rounds down, so I just have 104%. Round to the nearest hundredth. Well, that's 2 decimal places, 5 rounds up, so 5.64%. Nearest tenth. Here's a 9, 5 rounds up, so the 9 will round to a 10, so I will have 57.0%. If it says round to the nearest tenth, you really should have a tenth located in your number. And number 5, nearest percent. Well, that's a 5, 5 rounds up, so this is 26%. Nearest hundredth, looking at the 8, 0 rounds down, so 49.58%. And I believe that's it, so I hope that helps walk you through some rounding with order of operations and percents.